PM. The roll call, trustee Hummel.
Yes,
President Mansell
Here.
and trustee Hess are all here, so we have a quorum. I would like a motion to approve the agenda and the minutes from the August 27th, 2025 meeting.
so moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the agenda and the minutes from the August 27th, 2025 meeting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That motion is carried. Moving into public comments on agenda items. I think we have two people that would like to speak.
4 people.
4 people. I'm going to move those two to new business.
Okay. So then Jason and Nick.
And we'll give you 3 minutes. So, Jason.
Thank you. I would like to thank the board for taking the time to listen, try to understand and weigh all the options and ramifications of making a decision, getting out of the way forward ballast ordinance. And most importantly, thinking about the direction and the precedent that it'll set going forward. This past weekend was the opening of the 2025 rough grouse season in Wisconsin. I was fortunate enough to get out a few hours and enjoy the morning in the woods. I selected to visit a 7,500 acre parcel in Wood County public lands that I've hunted for over 10 years. And rarely do I ever see another person in this area. When I pulled up to the spot that I have visited over the years, imagine my surprise when I pulled into the parking area to find a once locked gate to a logging trail with fresh gravel and UTV signs. As I walked through the woods that morning and pondered the many thoughts and emotions that flooded my senses when I first saw the UTV sign, I eventually came to the conclusion that I was happy to see more people that would have access and enjoy our public land and resources. They'd be lucky to see some of the area that I once considered my secret spot. I was also impressed to see that the state of Wisconsin, Wood County, and our community is increasing access and usability. Finding a way to balance recreational use, environmental concerns, promoting tourism for our economy, as well as encouraging individuals and families to get outside, and as the DNR says, the wild. On the drive home from hunting that morning, I couldn't help but think about some of the similarities and differences with the UTV trails and the proposed wakeboard ballast. One, the restriction on the ballast boats is not in line with the current direction of our state, county, or community. Perhaps this is why there is no legislation in this matter. Second, if a person or group is going against the norm and requesting an ordinance to be created locally, shouldn't the person present pertinent information on how it directly impacts their specific situation? At the May 28th committee meeting, I urged the Nebco Lake District to present data and observations directly related to the Nebco Lake. Has that specific information been shared? Such as a depth chart or a lake of the lake to show accurate information? No. How about before and after pictures of shoreline damage or police reports of reckless behavior while using ballast tanks on Nebco Lake? No. Mr. Hummel said he would have the DNR present to give information on subject matter. Did that happen? No. Mr. Hummel said he would obtain feedback from the Nebco Lake annual meeting when talking to participants. Did that happen? No. Feedback from surrounding municipalities? No. A comparative analysis of information on potential invasive species entering into the lake? No. And at the last meeting, Mr. Hummel asked, what is the board waiting on? And I believe the answer is pertinent information. Lastly, the ordinance passed. If this ordinance passes, what is the precedence that the decision sets? For the committee, will the committee be responsible to give the same time and effort on any subject when presented with generalized information from the internet, pseudoscience, fake news, in the hope of gaining traction for personal gain? For the lake, a zero tolerance for issues pertaining to shoreline erosion, the spread of invasive species, sediment redispersion, and distribution loss of aquatic vegetation. And I want to stress that zero tolerance, not minimal, but zero tolerance. That would impact invasive species in the area of invasive species like live wells, jet skis, jet boats, trailers that have open body frames. The list goes on and on. Sediment redispersion and aquatic vegetation, I think that describes the weed cutters. The weed cutters take out the vegetation. And in the most sensitive areas of 5 feet or less, I have video, redispersion, weed cutters in those areas. I've also attached an executive summary for the highly talked about St. Anthony's Fall study for your observation. And I did personally, I guess it's an AI generated executive summary so that I can highlight it instead of having to go through the 100 and some odd pages. But there was only 2 recommendations, not the AI generated, but if you actually look at the study, only 2 recommendations that came out of that study. All boats should operate in 10 feet of water or greater, regardless if it's inboard, outboard, whatever the case may be. If that's not possible, to go as slow as possible, that equals no weight. And if we had a depth chart, you'll see that's almost the entire side of NEPCO, the east side of NEPCO Lake. The other recommendation was wakeboards should operate in 20 feet or greater water, which can be done on the west side of NEPCO. And also the original complaint that started this discussion, it should be noted that the boat in the initial complaint was in 20 feet of water. This study did not make a recommendation on distance from shore. This will be studied in the phase 3 study in the next 3 years. Thank you once again for your consideration, to all of the time that you spent and thoroughly looking at this issue. It's much appreciated.
Thank you for your input.
Have the executive summary.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nick, you like to speak? You'll have 3 minutes.
Yes. Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me now? Okay. My greatest concern, I appreciate you guys, listening to Jason and I again on this matter. Something happened on Monday at the NEPCO Lake District meeting, which I found to be very concerning. I now am on that board, brought this issue to light of, maybe trying to change the ordinance. I was overruled on that. I think it was 5-1, 4-1, something along those lines. But in the process of that, a private citizen of the lake, who I don't feel I need to name, accused me of being negligent, I'll say. I don't know his exact word, but I would say I could classify it as negligent as a board member, because on Labor Day weekend, I was driving my boat. I drove past his property. According to him, I was in wake enhanced mode on my boat, not pulling anyone, disrupting people on the lake. People were fleeing the lake in their kayaks and boats because of my presence. That is categorically false. I was not in any sort of wake enhanced mode. To be honest, I had my cruise set at 22 miles an hour to make sure I was not in transition speed that would violate this possible ordinance, because I knew that this person would probably be looking for me. My issue is the enforceability of this ordinance. You have 2 neighbors who I believe that this gentleman is not a liar. So I believe that he has his version of the truth. I know the truth. I know what I was doing. How does this get resolved? Are we bringing community together, or are we tearing community apart? By passing this ordinance, we are starting infighting between neighbors, and the police department, the Port Edwards Police Department, will be wasting their time chasing down these claims that will never make either party happy. I would love to hear the board's comments, whether in this meeting today or in the next meeting, on how this will be enforced when they don't have patrol boats in the water. I also would like to get a copy. I cannot find it. I'd like to get a copy of the exact wording of the ordinance that is being proposed by the board. And I thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you. Right now, we don't have an ordinance that has been drafted.
that we have a example of one, correct?
That's
Trustee
right.
Hummel?
I believe that, I believe that was the draft that was
Yes,
offered as a,
yes. That has not been undertaken and through the committee.
correct,
Yes, we have one in hand, but that's not saying that we have voted on that or,
yeah, absolutely.
okay. Thank you for your input.
Thank you.
Okay, next on the agenda item, chairperson comments. I do not have any at this time. Update on DMI.
So nothing new compared to what we talked about at the board meeting. MRGD, who is working with the Wisconsin Rapids demo mill, has made contact with DMI officials. And DMI has presented them the demo plan that was presented to the village board about 2 years ago. So I think that's a good sign. At least there's communication from DMI to the contractor and also letting them know what their plans were. So at this point, I haven't heard anything. I know they needed about a week or two to look over the plans to, before they're gonna come back on site, do another, visit of the land and before they could give a proposal. I mean, at the end of the day, I think the biggest thing is gonna be to get a price on what this demo is gonna cost to what DMI is thinking. And that's up to DMI if they're willing to sign and pay for it, but at least from the village aspects, and we talked about grants and money, but you know what kind of money is needed to get these buildings tore down and cleaned up. The next step of this we'll be working with Wood County on the admin building, which will probably happen later in October.
Okay, so this is phase one, just the mill proper.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
DMI property, you could say.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Anything else on DMI? The next agenda item, update on enhanced wake ordinance. Would you like to speak, trustee Hummel, on what the rest of this evening?
Sure, Chair Hess and myself are going as requested to Saratoga to give them an update on where the ordinance process stands with Village of Port Edwards and to receive feedback from them and comments from them about what the issues are and also to do some informing for them. So that's
Okay.
happening at 6 o'clock tonight.
Okay, so there's no action being taken tonight on the enhanced wake ordinance. Next agenda item, update on
Can I
one
say
six.
a few things on
Go
the
ahead.
wake ordinance? I wanna recognize and appreciate Jason and Nick coming down. I mean, they have been advocates on their cause and coming in and educating and talking with us. And I appreciate you still wanting to come and not feeling like we're just poo-pooing you and shutting you out. And I don't want that to happen. Nick, with your experience over Labor Day weekend, I'm sorry that has the accusation was happening to you. And just to be clear that, and I know you understand, but there is no ordinance in a force right now. So, I mean, do what you will, I guess, safely on that. I do have concerns with both. With what Jason has said and what Nick has said. I know I'm on the Nepco Lake District Board. I know I did vote for this